Okay, so in today's video we're going to have a look at part 6 of the Reading and Use of English section of the Cambridge Certificate of Proficiency in English test. It's called the gap text. We've seen it before, and it's a part that everyone has a lot of problems with, and it's a really important part because of the amount of marks you can get on it. And people get very confused. If you get one wrong answer here, you're likely to get 2 wrong answers. So what is in part 6? Anyway, it's a text from which paragraphs have been removed and placed in jumbled order after the text. Candidates must decide from where in the text the paragraphs have been removed, okay? So yeah, you've got 7 gaps in the text, and we've got to put the missing paragraphs in the right place, basically. What do you have to practice here? Understanding of cohesion, coherence, text structure, and global meaning. Really important. Obviously, this can even help your writing because you can see how one paragraph links to the next. And that idea of global meaning, yes, it's not only reading a paragraph, because you need to understand it to be able to kind of predict what the next paragraph is going to talk about in the gap. There are 7 questions. As I said, there are 7 gaps in the text, and each correct answer is worth 2 marks. So this is a really important part of the test, and it's one that everyone hates, to be frank. I'm going to dive straight into it. I'm going to show you how I got the correct answers here, basically, and again, this idea of global meaning. No? Reading a paragraph, trying to understand it and trying to predict what comes next. Okay, so it's an article here that is called Build It Yourself at the UK's first bamboo bike workshop, a course at the Bamboo Bike Club run by engineers James Marr and Ian McMillan, buys you a computer-designed custom frame plus a fun weekend of bike building. Okay, so let's read on here. What does it say? It's Saturday morning in Hackney Wick, East London. And apart from a mechanic deep in the bowels of a truck, the only sign of life among the small factories on a back street is a whine of machinery from an upper window. Work has begun at Bamboo Bike Club, Britain's only bamboo bike building course. I've gone along to watch the action. Okay, so we know that this person I think has gone to a workshop, no? That's what it sounds like. He's gone to see where they build the bikes at Bamboo Bike Club. So I would expect in the gap in 37 something describing what was happening in the workshop, no? And then if you look after the gap, the third paragraph essentially, it says, there's a sense of energy and industry and fun. Woodwork class was never like this. So it sounds like, yeah, definitely they've been talking about what is happening at the workshop. So immediately I'm going to have an idea of what I'm looking for. No, I think you should have an idea of what you're looking for. So A says, all this, together with the technical skill involved in using jigs, power tools and design blueprints, is a leap of faith for someone whose idea of DIY flatpack furniture is DIY flatpack furniture assembly. Right. All of this. I mean, right off the bat there, it says all of this, as though in the previous sentence we've had a list of things, of a lot of things. All of this, together with the technical skill involved, doesn't sound right to me. Doesn't sound right for me. No. Okay, B. Personally, though, I believe that any bicycle made from this kind of material should be a relaxed affair, something for cruising sedately around on rather than racing. Has somebody in the previous sentence suggested that these bikes should be used for racing? And the author is saying, I don't agree. Personally, though, I think it should be a relaxed affair. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Okay, what about C? Frames have been set up for the 3 custom bikes under construction. Well, that sounds like something that would be happening in a workshop where they're building bikes, no? Bamboo has been selected from a stockpile. New crossbars and seat posts are being cut according to the lengths specified on each design's blueprint. All of those things sound like things that would be happening in a workshop where they're building bikes. So I'm inclined very early here to go for C. Let's just quickly look at the other options, so it's a good idea, I think, in the first gap to look at all the options so that you have an idea of the options that are available later. No? So let's have a look at D and D. No problem. Just get another piece and have another go. Such is the benefit of bamboo. No problem. Was there a problem before? It sounds like they're referring to some kind of mistake being made. And we're saying, no problem. Just get another piece. It doesn't really work for me. No. If Calfee and their bike... Calfee? What is Calfee? I don't know who or what Calfee is. If Calfee and their like are safe, middle of the road rock, then Bamboo Bike Club are the punks, the rebels. And they're mentioning another company, I think, here. So Bamboo Bike Club is one company, Calfee are another company, which have not been mentioned before, and they're comparing their different styles. It makes no sense. Let's have a look at F. In F it says, it was this, plus the design challenge that led James and Ian to spend years cooped up in a shed in Brecon, Wales. Who are James and Ian? I mean, they mentioned them briefly in the subtitle, but this is what made them spend years cooped up in a shed in Brecon? What, that I went to visit the workshop? No, it makes no sense. Ian has ridden his for over a year. Well, it sounds like we're talking about bikes, and now we're speaking specifically about his. Ian has ridden his for over a year on a 16 market. No. H. The outcome was something more community than company, and as such, Bamboo Bike Club is still an occupation sandwiched between full-time jobs. It sounds like they're talking about how Bamboo Bike Club was set up and how it is currently. It's still an occupation sandwiched between full-time jobs. No, there's no information like that. It's clearly C. They're describing what is in the workshop. There's a sense of energy and industry and of fun. Woodwork class was never like this. Bamboo is one of the most interesting trends to emerge in bike construction. Names like Californian manufacturer Calfee Design or Yorkshire's Bamboo Bikes have revived a construction method pioneered as early as 1894. The problem for most cyclists is the price. A ready-made bamboo frame from these companies retails for $2,995 or £1,868. Okay, so we're talking about the problem of the price. They're expensive bikes from those companies, from Bamboo Bikes and Calfee Design. So, I don't know. Are we going to continue that train of thought? Maybe after the gap, let's see. Only after they have refined their research into a marketable product, James now tosses out phrases like close-noded, thick wall tubes while talking about bamboo. Did they realise they were on the wrong track? So it sounds like they are talking maybe about how the company was set up in the paragraph after the gap. And before the gap, they're talking about the problem of the price. Okay. All of this, together with the technical skill involved in using jigs, power tools, is a leap of faith for someone. No, they're talking about the price of these ready-made bikes from the other companies being a problem. So putting the bike together is not going to be a problem if you're buying them from those companies. Personally, though, I believe that any bicycle made from this kind of material should be a relaxed affair. That's not. Personally, though, it sounds like he's contradicting an idea that it shouldn't be a relaxed affair, and we can't see that here in the previous paragraph. They're talking about the problem of the price. I don't think it's C because we've used it. No problem, just get another piece. What, another piece of what? No. Okay, so here they're talking about the companies in E. If Calfee and their like are safe, middle-of-the-road rock, then Bamboo Bike Club are the punks, the rebels, less up against the big names than creating bikes that embody the DIY spirit. The DIY spirit, and that will engender more passion than the average factory line model. Okay, so they are comparing Bamboo Bike Club to Calfee and similar companies. The only thing it says, if Calfee and their like are safe, middle-of-the-road rock, it's kind of saying like they're normal, like safe, standard bikes, and Bamboo Bike Club are kind of punks, rebels, mavericks, no? Doesn't really mention the price. And then after the gap, obviously we're talking only after they had refined their research into a marketable product. James, they were on the wrong track. They're talking about how they set up the company, not what the company is now. I don't think it's E. I don't think I would get E. No. What about F? It was this plus the design challenge that led James and Ian to spend years cooped up in a shed in Brecon, Wales. It was this. Could that be the price? The price of the other bikes? The price of the companies, the bikes from the other companies? It was this, plus the design challenge, the challenge of designing a bike, that led James and Ian to spend years cooped up in a shed in Brecon, Wales. So it made them sort of go away into the mountains and think about how they were going to maybe design a rival product or set up a rival company. Their idea was to establish a boutique bamboo bike business with products within reach of the average cyclist. Okay, within reach, so affordable, I guess, to the average cyclist. I don't think there's any doubt. I think it's F. Only after they had refined their research into a marketable product, and James then tosses out phrases like close-noded, thick-wall tubes, while talking about bamboo, did they realise they were on the wrong track. So they were thinking about setting up a boutique bike business, and then they realised they were thinking about it in the wrong way. I think it's clearly F. It's clearly F. They were on the wrong track. We realised we didn't want just to sell frames. We wanted to share the joy of making something, the craft of creating something unique and sustainable, James explains. So maybe they're going to elaborate on that. How did they do that? I guess. How did they not just set up a shop, but also like a workshop for people to build their bikes? And after the gap, it says, the question for me, a king of the botched job, my terrible handiwork failures litter my house, was about quality. So the author is saying, you know, it's gonna, he feels it, or it would worry him that he wouldn't know how to put bike together, assemble it properly, that he'd do it wrong. So in 39. All this together with the technical skill involved in using jigs, power tools, the leap of faith for anyone's idea of DIY is a flat pack furniture assembly. Again, my problem is all of this. It's just that it would kind of fit. A would kind of fit. Because he's talking about how, okay, that's, a leap of faith, because I don't think I would be able to put a bike together. But it's this expression, all of this. You kind of need a list of things there before that expression, don't you? We realised we didn't just want to sell frames, we wanted to share the joy of making something. All of this, plus the skill involved in using jigs, it sounds like he's talking about the process of building it, and they haven't really spoken about the process yet. It's like there's a list of things that are involved in building the bike. And he's saying all of this, plus using all the saws and everything. So, I don't think it can be A. And we've used C and F so far. B. Personally, though, I believe that any bicycle made from this kind of material should be a relaxed affair. Nobody has said that it shouldn't be. So no, I don't think it's B. I don't think it's C. No problem. Just get another piece and have another go. Can't see any relation there. E. If Calfee and their bikes are, again, comparing the companies, talking about how Calfee are just kind of like normal standard bikes and they're the punks. Don't really get it, no. I think we need to know what they did. No, how did they set up this company that was not just selling the bike, but also they had this idea to set up kind of like a place where you could build the bike and they could sell the bikes. No, it was this plus the design challenge. No, we've used that. Ian has ridden his for over a year on a 16 mark. Now it's talking about his bike, and it sounds like they've been talking about other bikes before that. I'm hoping it's H. The outcome was something more community than company. And as such, the Bamboo Bike Club is still an occupation sandwiched between full-time jobs. James makes wind turbines and Ian is a civil engineer. More community than company. Kind of like a club, I guess. No? Okay, the outcome of what? The outcome of their idea to set up a shop where people could build their bikes. I guess the outcome of that idea. No, that makes sense. But they seem to be on the right track. Now they're on the right track. They were on the wrong track before. They seem to be on the right track with monthly courses whose competitive price buys you a computer designed custom bike frame plus a fun weekend of bike building. Yeah, that sounds right. That's exactly what they wanted to set up. No, a shop where you can buy the bike and you can build the bike. Yes, it's definitely H. It's definitely H in number 39. The question for me, a king of the botch job, my terrible handiwork failures litter my house, was about quality. On day one, the boys explain how to select bamboo for strength and how to form strong joints before tubes are glued lightly in place in the workshop. First, the front triangle composed of 40mm diameter bamboo. Then, the thinner, more fiddly seat and the chain assembly. Alloy tubes are inserted for the handlebars, wheel forks, and other parts which require the strength and precise engineering impossible in bamboo. Okay, so they're talking about how you put the bike together, talking about the different pieces, that they use metal alloys for the handlebars and for the spokes in the wheel, I think it was. Okay, so gap 40. James and Ian, let's have a look quickly. James and Ian buzz cheerfully between the workbenches. Okay, right, so clearly they're talking about the process of putting the bike together, no? They're talking about how they glue the pieces to make the front triangle, then they put the alloys in for the handlebars, and then after the gap, they're saying, James and Ian buzz cheerfully between the workbenches, supervising every cut, triple-checking every joint, and will take over if a task seems insurmountable. So, in 40, we need something that just sort of describes the process. They've already listed like a lot of things, haven't they? They've listed a lot of things that are involved in the process. So, kind of A, no? all of this, like putting the front triangle together, putting the alloy handlebars in, all of this together with the technical skill involved in using jigs, power tools and design blueprints is a leap of faith for someone whose idea of DIY is flat pack furniture assembly. Accurate cutting for a clean joint can be tricky, for example. So cutting to make a perfect joint can be very difficult. They're clearly going on adding extra. The author is adding more information to the list of things that he's already mentioned and saying how it's difficult. And then, after the gap, it's clearly A. James and Ian buzz cheerfully between the workbenches. So he's describing how they go round, looking at everyone's work, helping everyone, and they'll take over. They'll get involved if they can see that you're having too much trouble and the task seems insurmountable. The self-build is half the attraction for most participants. It may be no coincidence that all those on this course were engineers. For the rest of us, Ian reassures that everyone messes up once or twice. So Ian's saying, it's okay, everyone makes mistakes, no? Everyone messes up once or twice. After the gap, then they talk about Sunday. No, so this is on Saturday, you're building the bike, putting all the big pieces together. Sunday is a more relaxed day, mainly spent building the lugs. Okay, so of the options, I think I'm going to just, ignore the ones I've already used. So I've already used A. What about B? Personally, though, I believe that any bicycle made from this kind of material should be a relaxed affair. I don't think anyone said it shouldn't be relaxed, no? Everyone messes up once or twice is the last thing that Ian said. He's saying that in B, he's saying that it's more for cruising around, not for racing. Doesn't really make any sense. I think we've used C. What about D? No problem. Just get another piece and have another go. Well, Ian said that everyone messes up every once in a while. No, everyone messes up now and again. No problem. Just get another piece and have another go. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Such is the benefit of bamboo. Each length has been pre-checked for quality, so you get to indulge in frame aesthetics, plain bamboo, black or mottled. So he's basically spent a lot of time there describing the process of building the bike and saying how difficult it is. And that kind of makes sense after the gap in 41, I think, doesn't it? He says Sunday is a more relaxed day. Yeah, I think 41. I would definitely say D in 41. Sunday is a more relaxed day, mainly spent building the lugs, the lug like the basket at the front of a bike, I think. He says building the lugs, or rather wraps, hemp bindings wrapped around the joints and dropouts, then glued with epoxy resin to form a strong bond that disperses load evenly throughout the frame. Yeah, okay, so it's like sacks made of hemp all around the bike to distribute the weight evenly. And with a final polymer coating for waterproofing, the bike is ready for wheels, brakes, gears, saddle, and any other individual touches, any other bits of flair. And it is a bike built for the long haul, just as strong, the pair claim, as its metal equivalents. So both of them are saying it's strong. You don't need to worry. It's a strong bike. So, and here's an interesting thing after 42, after the gap. Technical issues aside, so technical problems aside, how good does a bamboo bike look? So it sounds like at the end of whatever comes in the missing part in 42, describes some kind of technical problem that one might have with the bike. And before the gap, they're talking about how the bikes are strong. You don't need to worry, they're strong. They're just as strong as a metal bike. So what haven't we used? A. All right, B. Personally, though, I believe that any bicycle made from this kind of material should be a relaxed affair. Something for cruising sedately around on rather than racing. Well, it could be that, because they're both suggesting that, oh, this bike is very strong, it's just as strong as a metal bike. And he's saying, well, you know, I think it should be for cruising sedately, just sort of drifting around, not for racing. They didn't actually say it was for racing, though. I therefore plump for a frame that avoids the stiff angularity of my existing metal machine. A classic English, giving a gentle, easygoing ride. So he's saying which one he chose, and he said he chose one that was very different to his metal bike because he was thinking about just cruising along gently. I don't think they said you couldn't do that or that it was for racing, but they did say that it was strong, and he's saying, well, he's not interested in that really. But here's the problem. After 42, it says technical issues aside. I don't think it mentioned any technical issues. Any technical no. So C, we've used that, and D as well. What about E? If Calfee and their bikes are safe, middle of the road rock, then bamboo bikes are punks, the rebels. So comparing the companies, no? Don't think that quite sounds right either. It's not like they're saying what identity Bamboo Bike Club has. Yeah, in the previous paragraph. They don't mention anything about that. They're talking about the technicality, the structure of the bike, no? So I guess the only option is G. Ian has ridden his for over a year on a 16-mile commute, while James has failed to destroy one bike off-road over 3 months of testing. Well, that would sort of reaffirm the idea that they're strong, no? He's saying, I've been using one for a year, every day, on a 16-mile commute, my journey to work, a commute. And the other one, James has been using one for 3 months off-road, and it's still fine. To be honest, our bikes are over-engineered. They're too engineered. They're too well designed almost. We use larger diameter tubes and over thick bindings, but I prefer it like that, James says. So they're talking about, kind of technical issues, like about how strong they are, saying maybe they're a little bit too thick or something like that. Yeah, that kind of leads into the paragraph after gap 42. No, technical issues aside, how good does it's clearly G. How good does a bamboo bike look? Somewhat scruffy alongside professional frames, it turns out. Yeah, not great. It looks a bit scruffy. The hemp weave can look a bit like parcel tape, for example. But there's no denying their individuality, and that, say, James and Ian, is the point. They want them to be individual. They want them to have their own personality, these bikes. So, 43, what options do we have? We've got B, and I think we've got E, no? Available to us. So, B. Personally, though, I believe that any bicycle made from this material should be a relaxed affair. Doesn't sound right, no. They're talking about how they want them to be individual-looking bikes, look a bit different from mainstream bikes. No? Yeah, it's E. If Calfee and their bikes, and they're like, safe, middle-of-the-road rock, then Bamboo Bike Club are the punks, the rebels, less up against the big names than creating bikes that embody the DIY spirit, and that will engender more passion than the average factory line model. Yeah, because they're more individual looking. No, they also cycle well. What's more is they also cycle well. Apart from looking sort of cool and individual and hipster, they also cycle well. I take James's bike for a spin and the ride is light, stiff and smooth thanks to Bamboo's ability to dampen vibration. Impressive considering I target every pothole. Some people love the build, but for me these workshops come together when the bike is on the road. James says, they're so light, so effortless to ride, so much fun to ride too. Take a Harley style retro bike, add 10, and you're still not close. And the price? Less than £500. Yeah, clearly 43 is E. And I think we've done. That's how I would do part 6 of the Reading and Use of English section of the Cambridge Certificate of Proficiency in English C2 level exam. Let me know if you've got any problems. Let me know in the comments. We've finished for today.